I am absolutely furious about Craig Guildford, the now former Chief Constable of West Midlands Police, the guy who oversaw the disgraceful decision to ban Maccabi Tel Aviv fans from watching the football in Birmingham. He has been allowed to retire. Yes, you heard that right. After all the lies, the corruption, the falsifying of evidence, the two-tier policing right at the top of West Midlands Police, the man is going to be allowed to retire and not be sacked in disgrace. This is a man that embodies everything that is rotten in our once great nation, and he is going to be allowed to retire on a nice fat pension with zero accountability, and it's an absolute disgrace. So let's start with a brief recap. Maccabi Tel Aviv, which is an Israeli football team, is due to play Aston Villa in Birmingham. West Midlands Police recommended banning Maccabi Tel Aviv fans because they were a problem and it was for security or safety reasons. This was a complete lie. We now know exactly what happened. West Midlands Police capitulated to so-called community leaders, sectarian politicians and anti-Semitic Islamist hate mobs who basically just don't want Jews in Birmingham. He then disgracefully blamed the victims. Intelligence showed that not only was this a lie, but the exact opposite was true. It was revealed in leaked documents that local Islamist groups were preparing to arm themselves so they could attack Jewish fans.
Have a bat in your car.
It wasn't the Maccabi Tel Aviv fans that were a problem, it was local extremists. We only found this out because this story was leaked by the newspapers on the day of the last day of the Home Affairs Select Committee, and it was an absolute car crash, by the way. Craig Guildford had the nerve to say that the reason he didn't tell the Home Affairs Select Committee about these armed thugs was because they didn't ask. Watch this.
So why are we only hearing about this now? Why is it that a report has come at lunchtime today from the Times newspaper that you had information on the 5th of September that there were likely to be vigilante groups within the West Midlands community itself who were planning to take action against the Maccabi fans? How is it that this committee is just hearing this for the first time?
Well, I think this is the first time specifically that you've asked for that detail. That's what we tried. Outrageous. That's what we tried to get across.
Absolutely outrageous.
And that's not all he did. He exaggerated Dutch police reports from the Amsterdam riots, claiming Maccabi fans were the aggressors, when in reality it was Maccabi fans being attacked by anti-Semites on a Jew hunt that was arranged on WhatsApp days before. The Amsterdam authorities completely rebuked West Midlands Police. Craig Guildford lied to Parliament. He made up evidence. He suppressed evidence. He even consulted with mosques that hosted Islamic extremists. The coward then blamed Jewish fans for threats against them. That's not just corrupt, that's properly nasty. Home Secretary Shabana Mahmood finally stood in the Commons and declared that she had no confidence in Craig Guildford. She said there'd been a failure of leadership. And this was after she was accused of sitting on this for 8 days and doing absolutely nothing. But then she got political. She said she would sack Craig Guildford if she could, but that power lies with the Police and Crime Commissioner Simon Foster, who happens to be a Corbynista. Now, Craig Guildford initially had the nerve to dig in and lawyer up, apparently. I mean, the man has absolutely no shame. He didn't have the decency to stand down, and this was after the Home Secretary said she had no confidence in him. Simon Foster then disgracefully announced that he was going to allow Craig Guildford to retire with a full pension, estimated over £200,000 a year. He then ludicrously praised him for acting with honour.
The Chief Constable, Craig Guildford, has today retired from West Midlands Police with immediate effect. In doing so, he has acted with honour and in the best interests of West Midlands Police and our region. It is important that I acknowledge the many positive achievements and contributions that Craig Guildford has made to policing within the West Midlands during the course of his 3 years tenure as Chief Constable. As Police and Crime Commissioner, and on behalf of the people of the West Midlands, I thank him for his service.
I mean, you could not make this up. What honour? This man is an absolute disgrace. He did not act honourably. He destroyed trust in the police. He acted entirely dishonourably. He needs to be made an example of. They need to strip him of his pension and frog marched out of the building, and I would argue prosecuted. So what happens next, if anything? Well, the Independent Office for Police Conduct is already sniffing around, so they can even investigate post-retirement. So there is that. Also, the Home Affairs Select Committee have not submitted their final report yet. And as we know, that was a complete and utter car crash. So he still might get his comeuppance, although I'm not going to hold my breath. But the bigger problem here, despite everything that we've mentioned, is where does the real power lie? Because at the moment it looks like West Midland Police has been completely captured.
Salam alaikum. There is one tier of policing that applies to all of us, and that means that we police without fear or favour.
They are not a functioning police force. And what worries me is there are going to be plenty more Craig Guildfords in the system. And the truth is, he was allowed to retire because the system protects liars like him. And that is what has got to stop. We need to drain the swamp.